find it.
Okay, so the first 4 problems on the midterm are coming from the first test. We're just moving, we're translating, okay, on the first problem. We're just translating, shift it up and right, up to right 1. So just up to right 1. So that means I'm translating it to this point. That's it. That's all it is. Just moving it. Okay? Later on, we're going to have to translate it, you know, we're going to have to translate it into what does that mean as far as the equation, right? If I took x squared, right, and I'm going to move it right 1, that means it's opposite to the x, right? So it's opposite of right, so opposite of plus, so that would be minus 1. And then if I moved it up 2, it would be against the whole function plus 2. So that's where we're going, right? We're just moving the whole, and that is the vertex formula for this moved or this translated function, right? So that's where we'll be going. But before we get there, we got to do our parent functions, right? The way to get to this point is we have to know what is a quadratic, what is a cubic, what is a square root, what is a linear, what is a constant, right? What do they look like? So you should have those in your notes, right? Somewhere in your notes, you should have that constant. You should have that linear. You should have that quadratic. You should have that cubic, and you should have the square root, right? And we should know that this is f of x equals c, and that this is f of x equals y, right? Or x, sorry about that. F of x equals x, okay? Or that f of x equals x squared, or that f of x equals x cubed, right? Or that f of x equals x to the 1/2. You know, and we need to know their names. Constant, linear, quadratic, cubic, and square root. Okay? So now I have their function, I have their picture, and I have their name. Okay? And now I can tell myself what this is. I mean, I should be able to figure out, by looking at this, that it has a square. That's the highest degree, right? So that means that this is an f of x function of x squared, right? Which would put this here at quadratic. And so what would it look like? Well, it would look like this, but moved. Does that make sense? Okay? That's it. Okay? Now, the next one, it gives you the picture. So I need to come up with, well, this looks like this, so therefore the function should look like x to the 1/2, right? Yeah. And it's called a square root. Okay? And on the last one, I should see that the exponent is a 1/2, which again brings me to the square root. So I know that this is a square root, and that the picture looks like this. Okay? So we just really, honestly, need all of this in your notes for that test. Okay? So that you will know what each of these functions look like. Okay? So the constant, the line, the quadratic, the cubic, the square root. That's it. That's the first 4 problems.